Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 tactic video where today I'm going to be sharing with you my 4-2-2 custom tactics. Now the 4-2-2 was one of my favorite tactics last year. It was actually my favorite formation in the game. So today we're going to be trying out the 4-2-2. I'm going to be sharing with you the tactics that I find to be the best and the instructions as well to go along with this. Obviously the team at the moment isn't looking too great, but it will improve as the year goes on. So hopefully you'll enjoy these 4-2-2 custom tactics that we are going to be sharing with you today. So without further ado, let's go into our tactics. Now this is the tactics setup that I went for. Now I wanted to go for something a little bit more attacking. I'm using the 4-2-3-1 at the moment, so I wanted to try something a little bit more attacking when it came to the 4-2-2. And I wanted to start with a good baseline. If you was with us last year, if you watched a lot of our tactic videos last year, I wanted to start with something similar to what I used last year to see how effective that was. And this was what I ended up settling on. So balanced on the defensive style. Now a lot of people that I've come across recently, as I've been getting higher and higher in division rivals, a lot more people have been playing on a pressure, whether it be pressure on heavy touch, whether it be pressure on possession loss, and it can be quite difficult to play against, especially on the PS5 at the moment, on the new gen, because there is a little bit of added delay for some reason. I'd assume it's going to get patched at some point. So it can make it a little bit difficult when somebody plays a press. But if most people who play on balance, it won't really matter too much, the delay. I never experienced it too much, but it just can be a little bit tricky when people play the press. But I found that balance works extremely well for this formation. I don't personally like using the press. I like to kind of make sure that my formation is always pretty standard. And, you know, I don't want myself getting countered easy. And I find when you play on press, it only really is necessary to play on a press if you're trying to get back into a game. In terms of the width and depth, at the moment, I'm keeping these relatively the same for all my formations because I'm trying to kind of figure out what's good. I think at the moment, you can play a little bit higher because a lot of people don't have the absolute superstar players at the moment. You know, I've played a couple of people that have had their Timo Werners and the Sanes and guys. But generally, I find that you can get away at the moment with a higher depth whilst people don't have the super fast players, whilst people don't have the Mbappes, the Neymars. I feel like you can get away with playing a slightly higher depth. So I'm probably going to start pushing my depth up to sort of 70, 75. But I was using 65 and I was rock solid in defense. Very rarely conceded any goals. Very rarely was open to many counterattacks either. Just very, very good defensively, even though we have got quite an attacking setup with this 4-2-2. As you can see, we're playing fast build-up on the build-up play. As I said, I wanted to try something a little bit more attacking, and I found the fast build-up was very, very effective, especially last year. I switched to the fast build-up quite early on in the year and found that it was definitely the way to go. And it works really well with this formation, again, because the formation and just the way the players are set up, they're all quite close together and it's very easy to play quite quickly. Even though the gameplay itself is a little bit slower, especially on the PS5, I find the fast build-up works very, very well for this formation, and paired with the direct passing, which again kind of seems to be the go-to thing. Now, I don't have the fastest players, as we've seen with my attackers. We've got Richarlison and Pepe, so not necessarily, obviously Pepe's got good pace, but Richarlison, and they've got no chem styles on them at the moment because I don't want to waste them. At the moment, we don't have the fastest players, so we're not getting the most and the maximum out of the direct passing, but it is working very, very well, this combination. I created a lot of chances, and obviously as we get better players, we'll be able to take more of those chances, because at the moment we don't have the best players to take them. Sometimes the keeper makes some really good saves, sometimes they're just poor finishes by myself or the players, but you will create a lot of chances. And like I said, even with this combination of playing quite aggressive and quite attacking, I didn't have many, didn't really concede many goals, didn't really concede many chances at all. You'll see a lot of the stats at the end of the games. We didn't really concede many shots on goal, so we managed to keep it tight at the back. And in terms of offensive width, went for around about 60. Just wanted to have a little bit more width in this formation. Didn't want it to be too narrow, just give me that little bit more width. And we went for 6 players in the box, just to have that extra player in the box, because I was using a lot of cutbacks whilst I was playing this 4-2-2. Found it to be the best way to try and score. And then free kicks and corners, really just the standard stuff, just to kind of neutralise counterattacks. So when it goes to the instructions, the goalkeeper, we've got Edison on come to cross and sweeper keeper. A very, very good Edison. Obviously, he's quite tall, so he's very good. If you've got a tall goalkeeper, you do want them on comes to crosses. And the goalkeepers seem to be very, very tough. If you bring your keeper out, if you manually use the R3 button and you bring your keeper out sort of a couple of yards, he'll pretty much get everything, and kind of neutralizes a little bit the threat that people can have from corners and crossing if you do use your goalkeeper. So having him on sweeper keeper and comes for crosses works very well. The sweeper keeper works as well, quite well. Haven't really seen it too much, but especially if you do have people that are using a lot of lob through balls, make sure he keeps on sweeper keeper, because he'll generally come out and just sort of head it out for a throw in and just kind of neutralize those things there. Ruben Diaz and Lacroix, I think that's how you say his name, both on stay back while attacking. In terms of the fullbacks, Pereira, and we've got Gunter at the moment. I actually do want to get someone like Rustil on, maybe to get Lacroix on full chemistry. But Pereira and Gunter, both on balanced attack, because I want these guys to get forwards and at least help out a little bit. Because of the way we have our two attacking midfielders set up, we do kind of want these guys to provide a little bit of width. And again, even though these guys are going forwards, I wasn't really conceding that many counterattacks. Even when I was playing against the likes of Leroy Sané or Timo Werner, I was not really conceding too many counterattacks, and they were getting back in position quite well. And I think that's because of the conservative interceptions. Even though when they get forwards, obviously they're out of position, they need to get back in. But I think when I was out of possession, these guys are on conservative interception, which means they're not going to be trying to go in and win the ball. They're going to be staying in shape, which again makes it quite difficult for your opponent to break you down, even though you're playing quite an offensive setup. So it works very, very well. Obviously got them on overlap as well, because I do want them to kind of just stay on the touchline and really just be so make sure that I've always got some width. So if these guys were on the mixed attack, or if they're on inverted and they ran inside, every ball would be, every pass would have to go inside. So it could make it quite easy for your opponent to predict where you're going. So them being on overlap means that I'm always going to have an option on the outside and one on the inside. Can just make you a little bit more unpredictable in the attacking third. In terms of Fred and Ndombele, both these guys on cut passing lanes and stay back while attacking. Obviously, whilst we have the two fullbacks going forwards or unbalanced, we do need a little bit of defensive protection. So Fred and Ndombele, they're there to kind of just, make sure and cover for when Gunter and Pereira are getting back in positions. But their main job is just kind of neutralize counterattacks, sometimes make cheap fouls and just stop counterattacks, and really just try and intercept the ball, maintain sort of my attacks. And they do a very good job of that, especially Fred. He does a very good job of winning the ball back, maintaining the attacks, and then we can keep the pressure on our opponent until we eventually do get the goal. In terms of the two wide cams, Jota and Kai Havertz, both of them on get into the box for crosses and free roam. Now, this free roam tactic is something that's been very, very powerful for me personally in the way I like to play FIFA for a couple years. And it works especially well in this formation, because obviously sometimes you have Jota who will drift out to the left, sometimes he'll drift into that space, just behind Richarlison and Pepe, or it might be Havertz. So they kind of become a bit of a number 10, and that's why we want Gunter and Pereira, the two fullbacks, to get forwards, so that if Jota and Havertz, maybe they're a bit narrow, they kind of drift inside to link up with the two strikers. We've then always got the ball on the outside, whether it be Gunter or Pereira, and then when they get there, you can either run down the byline and then look for a cutback, because we've got a couple more players in the box, or you can just pass it back to Jota, recycle the ball, maintain the pressure. So it works very, very well with these guys on free roam, and they don't necessarily score a lot of goals, but they create a lot of chances. So far, Jota and Havertz haven't really scored too many of my goals, but they do get pretty much 75% of my assists, so they do a very good job of that, which is really what their job is to do, is more to provide more than score. And then Richarlison and Pepe up top, both these guys on stay central and get in behind. I did have one of these guys on target man, but that kind of is when you have a target man. If you don't have a target man, then you don't need to play him on that. Generally, you want to use them both on stay central and get in behind. If you have someone like, we're talking a couple months into the game, someone who's maybe a bit more of like a centre forward type, so maybe you have like a Firmino or a Luis Suarez or someone like that, you can have one of them on false 9 and they'll drop in, and then you could turn your two wide players, then don't need to have the free roam technique. The only reason why I have these guys on free roam at the moment is because we don't have kind of that false 9 type striker to drop in behind. But at the moment, stay central, getting behind works well. It works especially well if you've got two fast players. So it really depends on who you've got up front and kind of what their play style is. But at the moment, this works very, very well with the two free roams, with the two cams, and these guys in stay central and getting behind. They do score pretty much all of my goals. So that is it for my 4-2-2 custom tactics. I really like this formation. Obviously, I've been using the 4-2-3-1 a lot. Been using this one. I actually think this one's a little bit better, but they do different jobs. The 4-2-3-1 is kind of maybe more against the sweaty players, is a bit better. This one's a little bit better for kind of taking people apart and just kind of taking the game away. So you could start in this formation, maybe try and get 2 goals in front, and then drop into the 4-2-3-1 to kind of be a little bit tougher to break down. But this is very good. Really enjoy it attacking. Really offensively very good. Still quite solid defensively, and we managed to create a lot of chances. So a big fan of this formation yet again this year in FIFA 22. But that is it for the video, guys. So if you enjoyed, do drop a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. And let us know in the comment section if there are any other formations that you'd like us to cover, and we'll do our best to cover them as the year develops. But that is all today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.